All right, hello. Starting late as usual. If anyone's out there, just say hello. Tonight I'm going to be doing. I haven't done a reading in a few days, which I just did a ton of readings a few days ago. So I'm back though, and yeah, tonight I'm reading on coronavirus for 2023, which is something that we sometimes forget. But it's lately it seems like it's been rising. It's been showing up in a lot of new variants and so on, and just numbers have been going up. Uh, it seems like most people now outside where I'm in Malaysia, are wearing masks in stores and places like that. Um, yeah, so it's no, I was reading a comment. It was my comment, but yeah, so it's definitely not the same as it was a few months ago. I think the situation is changing, and yeah, if I seem exhausted, I don't have COVID, but I thought I did kind of a few days ago. I went out to eat, and I wasn't feeling good the next day. But I think it was not so much COVID or anything. I think it was more just that I ate some kind of sweet that was pretty sweet, and my body wasn't used to it. So, anyways, we're gonna look at COVID, and I'm kind of exhausted from today though, just because I've been editing a lot. Editing video is not something that I enjoy, but I do it, and I realize though that that's the reason or maybe that's not one of the reasons I love these live streams, is that I don't have to edit video, because editing video is a nightmare I don't want to return to. But, anyways, let's get started with this COVID reading. Oh, we got our first comment, Lisa D. Hello, Lisa. And anyone else, feel free to comment. I think the way I'm going to structure this reading today, and like I said, I'm pretty tired, so I don't know how long I'll be going for, but we'll see. I want to look at the the overall planet, look at COVID for 2023 in the 4 quarters of the year, and then I also want to look at the continents to see the general energy on each continent, to see where we can expect COVID to have the largest effect. Interesting. I did a reading in the last few weeks on China because of their lockdown policies, and what I saw was that the protests that were happening, and I don't know if they still are as much, but that were happening a lot, about the COVID lockdowns, that they would force China to ease up on the lockdowns, and it just surprises me not that they have done exactly that. They have, I mean, they're still doing things for COVID, and they're still trying to be as strict as possible, but they have relented. So I think that's very interesting that the government responded so quickly to what people said. Oh, hey, Kira. I see another comment showing up. Welcome, guys. And yeah, I was the point of what I was saying earlier about being kind of exhausted from editing all today. I also, my back was feeling kind of, because I was sitting too long. It's just not good to edit video. I don't recommend it. But the point is, I'm like, I want to do this reading tonight, but I want to be in kind of a better frame of mind. So I did a little Tai Chi, and yeah, I felt my back felt better like right away, and my energy felt better, a little better. I'm still kind of tired. I'm gonna go to bed after this reading, but I wanted to share with you guys though the YouTube woman whose Tai Chi videos I use. She's pretty great. I mean, she's not like an active YouTuber. It's like an old video from the past, but it's a great video that I recommend. Let me share it with you all. If anyone wants to practice Tai Chi, if anyone has COVID, I would recommend, if you're able to, do Tai Chi, because I'm not saying it's like a cure for COVID. I'm just saying it's generally good for anything to improve your energy level. And yeah, so if you've never tried Tai Chi, or if you've never tried meditation, and or if you struggled with meditation, I recommend Tai Chi, because it's a good prelude, a good way to get started with meditation, because it kind of gets your mind in a state that is good. Like, you can do it right before meditation, and then when you do meditate, it'll be much easier, because a lot of people just they can't meditate. They can't just sit there, because their mind races, and I can't always meditate. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. And but with Tai Chi, you can always do Tai Chi. You just turn on the video and watch it and do it. And yeah, it's the closest thing to meditation maybe out there without meditating. So, anyways, let me get started though with this COVID reading. I think I'm going to begin first with the general energy for the whole planet for next year, the overall waves of COVID that we might expect, whether it will be increasing, will it be leading to more stringent measures, more, or will people kind of loosen up again? I feel like overall this year there was a lot of relaxing of measures, especially in the middle of the year. Like in the beginning of the year, there was still a lot of issues with Omicron that people were clamping down on it. But like in the middle of the year, it felt like a lot of things were opening up and really and like kind of normalizing in some ways. I mean, at the beginning of this year, I didn't feel comfortable traveling internationally because I didn't know if there would be enough, like if it would be too much of a hassle to travel to every country. But now, when I started traveling in August, I got to Germany, no issues with COVID, no quarantine, no COVID tests, and then the next time I flew was from Croatia to Malaysia. Again, no issues with COVID tests, no quarantining. I'm going to Thailand next, and then after that I'll be going to Japan. And Japan is the one country that I still do have a lot of issues that I have to do to go there. So I have to download some app and I have to upload a COVID test. It's a little bit of a hassle, but I want to go to Japan, so I'm going to do it. And so I just want to see though, will international traveling be more difficult next year? Will it be easier? What will be the situation? I need water first. So yeah, let's look at first the four quadrants. And then we shall look at the individual continents. So let us begin. I think tonight I'll read, I haven't done this in a while, but I'll read, showing you the cards as I read. Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to look at the 4 quarters of this year. And so let's look at first for January through March. Overall energy with COVID deaths, just COVID hospitalizations and so on, everything. The overall pattern that we can expect for next year. All right, so for January to March, I'll show you and then I'll keep going though. I'm going to do all 4. So January to March, I'm seeing the 5 of Pentacles. So I'll get to that in a minute and tell you what I think about it. And then for April to June, April to June, I'm seeing the King of Wands. I have 2 Wands cards so far. And then for July to September, 3rd quarter, the overall the overall, I guess, effect on the world travel, world economy, the world in general for 2023. Let's see. Third quarter, 2023. Okay. Cups card, 2 of Cups. And 4th quarter, overall levels of COVID hospitalizations, COVID deaths, effects on the economy, effects on how open things are, how much masking takes place, everything. I'm seeing. All right. Okay. So we have 3 wands cards. Let me address what each of these means, I guess. Yeah, so overall the year, starting here. Let's see, for you it's left to right. Okay. Yeah, so interesting. These 3 wands cards. I think, let's begin with this one. First quarter with this. Oh, I see a comment. Thanks for sharing the link. Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, that link, for those of you who weren't here, is a Tai Chi video that I did earlier tonight. Uh, just kind of to get my energy in the right place. If you have COVID, if you have any illness, or if you just don't feel well in general, or if you just want to feel better, go check it out. It's a great Tai Chi video to get started if you've never done Tai Chi. There's plenty more on YouTube, and you know that. Okay, so first quarter of 2023, COVID levels. I'm seeing like similar to what they are now. Like there's just a lot of. It feels like there's a lot that's kind of boiling underneath, and like new cases. Like we still have nowhere near getting this under control. It's just COVID's manifesting regularly, and there are like outbreaks regularly and increases regularly. Yeah, overall, I don't see a lot of change with this card. I see just basically a continuation with this kind of rumbling energy that, like there's been volcano eruptions recently. It's kind of like that, like before a volcano eruption. I'm not saying it's going to lead to a volcano eruption, but the next card is the King of Wands for the second quarter, for April to June, and I feel like this feels like an increase overall in COVID levels, but I don't feel like with this I'm seeing quite the same. Like I'm not seeing lockdowns or things like that, or closures of countries or things like that. I feel like this is more just the numbers are going up, and like it's kind of we've had this effect before. We know what to expect. Hospitals have to do more work and so on, things like that. But I think I don't see. Yeah, I feel like the we've already seen like the heaviest government like protections on COVID, like the enforcement of COVID. I feel like people have kind of like even in China they're resisting it. Like I don't feel like people want to go back. Like they're just like they're willing to deal with it, and like it's kind of become a very personal issue in which like if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And it's like they don't like the government like telling them to do that. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying like I'm just saying that I feel like the majority of people don't want that anymore, and it's the government can only do so much to kind of make them do something. And so and then the third quarter I'm seeing the Two of Cups, and I feel like this is kind of a healthier response to COVID than we saw last year, and maybe the year before that too. Like I feel like this is just kind of people knowing what it is at this point and knowing how it works, and obviously we don't have a cure for it at this point, but it's like new vaccines will continue. Some people will take them, some people will not. It's some people wear a mask, some people don't. Some people will go to concerts, crowded concerts without any masks, and do that, and other people will like be very strict about it and not see anyone. It's just I feel like it's just become a part of the system at this point, and there will be there still will be increases and so on, but I don't feel like it's going to be horrible this year. I feel like the second quarter is going to be the heaviest increase, and then the third quarter it's going to start to go down again. And fourth quarter, Knight of Wands. I'm seeing not as bad a winter. Like I feel like this winter is gonna have a larger number than next winter. Um, yeah, overall. So I would say, yeah, I think the second quarter with this King of Wands and the fourth quarter feel like the strongest increases in COVID. And yeah, let's take a look at the continents now, the individual continents, to see the effect on each, see where it's going to hit worst. And why don't I begin with South America, just to begin somewhere I don't usually begin. Yeah, so South America, overall COVID levels next year. I'm seeing, interesting, the death card. Um, the question when death comes up is this: what kind of death is this? Is this physical death? Is it kind of a death of some concept that allows a resurrection of a new system or a new outline or a new plan? What kind of death is this? So I'm going to feel like this is a mix. There is a lot of physical death. I feel like South America is going to have a fair amount of COVID next year, like outbreaks and increased levels. But I also feel like it is that kind of resurrection of mentality that will allow them to shift to a better place. But yeah, but I do see like this is kind of a mix. This is a lot of physical death, but it leads to that resurrection state that allows more of a positive kind of growth mentality. So, I mean, obviously nobody wants to see the death card when it comes up, but sometimes it can lead to better things. It's just kind of like a fulcrum that is passed through, and not everybody wants to pass through it, obviously. Like real death. Nobody wants to go through it, but everyone gets to go through it. So let's go on to North America and see what COVID levels look like there. And by the way, you guys, if you have any questions relating to COVID you want me to look at, feel free to ask. Yeah, so I've already looked basically at the overall levels around the world for next year, the four quarters, and then I'm going to look now at the individual continents. But if there's anything else you want to know about, feel free to ask, or even other subjects. I may get to them at the end of this, or I'll schedule another reading. Yeah, so let's look at North America next year. North America. All right. So two cards came up, and one is the Five of Cups, and one is the Five of Swords. Two five cards. Interesting. Let's see. So, sorry, I'm trying to get the screen back so I can see the cards as I talk to you. Okay, so yeah, Five of Cups and Five of Swords. So Five of Cups is usually a sadder card, lower energy. Yeah, it seems like there is, like I'm sure, like if South America is going to have pretty increased numbers, then North America will as well. But how does this Five of Swords figure in? This is usually a card of like overcoming something. So if I see this as two stages of North America, then I think, yeah, it feels like this is the first part rather than this is the first part. I'm feeling that, like, yeah, there's an earlier increase in numbers and so on, in which people are again not going to want to, like, they're going to be very resistant to going back to any kind of COVID measures, and a lot of people don't want vaccines, a lot of people don't want to wear masks and so on. And then, but I still see though, with this one, more of a, like there are people like willing to, I mean, nobody wants to, but I feel like, yeah, people are going to be taking some measures to protect themselves and to kind of do what has to be done to prevent us having to do a full blown lockdown again, because nobody wants a full blown lockdown. But yeah, overall in North America, I see kind of a diminished energy, and then a slight, a slight victory, more like a courage that comes with being willing to face it and deal with it, and just kind of go forward with a functional country in some way. Actually, I shouldn't say country because I'm including Mexico and Canada. This isn't just the U.S. This is North America, and yeah, so. Neither of these cards have been wonderful, I would say, for next year for the energy, but that is what I'm seeing. Let's jump now to, go to Europe. Oops. Europe. Europe, what have you. All right. Interesting. Four of Swords. Again, all these energies are very subdued next year. This, yeah, would seem to go along with that theme of increased numbers and kind of I feel like a lot of this is just people are aware of how the virus spreads at this point. They know it's mainly airborne, and it can be prevented, if not prevented, but it can be largely prevented. There's no 100%, like, unless you're totally living on a desert island or something. But you can, like, at this point, I've actually never had symptoms. I don't know if I've ever had it, but I haven't had symptoms, which is surprising to me because I've traveled in a lot of places that I feel like if I there was no reason I shouldn't have gotten COVID, but I haven't had any symptoms, which I'm glad for. Knock on. This isn't wood. What is this? I don't know. But anyways, hopefully I won't. But anyways, back to Europe. So yeah, a subdued energy, kind of a lower retreat card, and meditative and very calm and relaxing and restful. But I don't see this as no COVID. It seems like along with the other continents, it's going to suffer just as much. So this is kind of surprising to me, because like I feel like I wasn't expecting any big changes in COVID next year, but this seems to suggest increasing numbers in a lot of ways. Let's look next at Africa. I haven't read about this in a while, but I remember, like, a lot of African countries, there were lower numbers of COVID, and it's kind of a mystery why. Because I don't know if it had to do with diet, with environment, genes, I don't know. Like, and let's see though how the numbers will fare next year in Africa. All right. See, Africa, Africa is the fool. So this does not seem like they are suffering the same way as the rest of the world that I've looked at so far, and why that is, who knows? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to put it on any crackpot theories. There's plenty of other. That's one thing that there's no shortage of nowadays, and COVID has certainly been like the centerpiece of conspiracy theories, and I don't feel like I need to add any more to conspiracy theories online. So, but yeah, I'm seeing more of a carefree and just a generally non-suffering response. I'm not saying there won't be any numbers, but I'm saying that compared to the other continents that I've looked at so far, this is much better outlook for COVID next year. Africa, How you do it, I don't know. I'd like to know. All right, let's look next at Asia. And Asia is where I'm at right now. So yeah, I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you guys heard, but I will be traveling in a few days to Kuala Lumpur, and then I will be there for about 50 days till the beginning of February. So the next few days, I don't know if I'm going to read regularly, but then I'll be back around I don't know, Sunday, Monday, wherever you are, and yeah, I should have regular tarot readings because I won't be moving for over a month, and I'll get down to it. But I will be in Asia at least until, because after Kuala Lumpur, I'm flying to Japan, and I'll be in Japan for about 3 months, and then after that, I haven't decided yet, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to be in Japan to, let's see, March, April, May, till the end of May, I think. Yeah, so quite a ways ahead. So let's see what lies in Asia. All right. Interesting. So we have a Seven of Swords card, and I see this. Yeah, this seems like. Oh, hey, Rainbow. Welcome. Another commenter is here. If you or anyone else has COVID questions or other questions, feel free to comment. I'm looking right now at the continents, and I'm on Asia. So with Asia, I'm seeing the Seven of Swords card, which seems like they are going to have COVID numbers, but I see them not suffering the same levels of that I've seen so far in Europe, North and South America. It seems like Africa and Asia are going to have a little better COVID statistics next year. And why that is, again, I don't claim to know why, but that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, I don't see this quite as the same carefree way that Africa is getting off. But I do see skirting a lot of the danger and a lot of the deaths and hospitalizations. All right, so let's finally look at Australia. As always, I don't look at Antarctica because what are there, like 10 people in Antarctica? Scientists down there. I don't know how many there are. But yeah, I'm going to look at Australia. COVID levels, COVID hospitalizations, effects on economy, effects on international travel, and so on. Australia and New Zealand. And thereabouts. Oh, a jumper. And I see the Six of Swords. So I see this not as this usually means like you're not suffering in the same way as those other ones, but you're not very carefree. You're like taking a lot of measures. Yeah, I see like Australia, like a lot of like China, for example. They try to like keep as close a clamp on COVID as possible, but they are slightly more open than they were during most of the pandemics when it began. I don't see them like closing internationally, but yeah, like people are like, this again comes back to this theme of people just like kind of largely taking measures on their own rather than government imposed measures. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. So interesting. Just to recap, for the year, I was seeing kind of the same levels in the first quarter of next year that we have now, and then the second quarter, I was seeing the largest increase in the largest number of hospitalizations, deaths increasing in the second quarter. Third quarter, kind of responding to that and dealing with it, and slightly easing of numbers, and then fourth quarter, again, a slightly, I think it goes with winter, that rise that we see, not just with COVID, but with the flu and other things for whatever reason, colds. I think it's just because people are indoors more and they have windows closed and so on. So there's more opportunities for contagion. Yeah, and then for the continents, I was seeing South America, pretty strong levels of COVID numbers, pretty higher increase in hospitalizations and death. North America again, similar, like especially in the first half of the year, larger numbers, and then second half of the year, pretty good kind of lowering of numbers, and then Europe, kind of a quieter, not quite as strong as North and South America. Their levels of COVID increasing, but I do see an increase in like a lot of self-imposed lockdowns. Like I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about individuals just choosing to protect themselves more and so on. Africa, though, mysteriously, I don't see the same levels of COVID as anywhere else on Earth. Asia, I see increases, but again, a much more subdued and leveled response. And then Australia, I was seeing again not not quite as strong as a response. It seems like the strongest area is North and South America, that they're going to have the largest increase in numbers, and then Europe, and then I would say that's like kind of the epicenter of it for next year. So that's what I see. If you guys don't have any other questions related to COVID or anything else, I'll just wrap it up. But if you do, speak now or forever hold your peace. Check. All right. Seems like nobody has any other COVID questions. Going. All right. Well, I'll just call it a night then. I think the next reading I'm going to do is going to be. Maybe I'm going to look at. I think one of you guys suggested that I look at the effects in the winter of, the basically the war in Ukraine. Like, how is that going to affect Europe for the winter? What levels of natural gas and coal and so on, like how will that all be affected? How will it affect the heating, prices of utilities and so on for the winter? How bad will it get? And that was a good suggestion, whoever suggested that. So I'll probably do that in the next day or two, and then we'll see. Because I know as I get closer to when I leave, I'm going to have less and less time as I need to pack and get ready and take care of things here. So I'll do what I can, and then I'll return on Sunday or Monday or whatever, wherever you are. So thank you very much for tuning in. Oh, and of course, if you want a personal tarot reading, let me put up my Super Pure information. And again, I have a 15% off code if you want a personal reading from me or life coaching. Just contact me at superpure.com/AdamSavage and use this code for 15% off between now and December 31st. So check it out, and I hope to see you in future tarot readings, future predictions, future whatever. See you in the future. All right, have a great night, and see you all later, alligators.